investigating matters concerning land starting the 9th of November. This was disclosed by the inquiry chair, Justice Catherine Bamgemerire, during an interaction on land matters with the judicial officers in Entebbe.
On the 8th of December 2016, the President appointed the Commission of Inquiry into the effectiveness of the law, policies and processes of land acquisition, management and registration in Uganda. This follows a number of land complaints registered with the marginalization of the poor. The 2.5 years have been spent by the Bamgemerire Commission investigating problems concerning land matters, as well as looking for recommendations of land management.
We need to develop upwards. That is real land management. So, when we were asked by the President to take up this task, we knew from the beginning it was going to be an onerous task, but sometimes we didn't envisage just how tough it could be.
Addressing judicial officers in a seminar organized by the inquiry to find ways on how land can be managed, Justice Catherine Bamgemerire said they have tackled issues regarding land tenure, the national policy, land tribunals, among others.
That as we come to the end of our term, we have done all we could with whatever we heard.
Justice Catherine Bamgemerire says they are in the process of writing a report.
We also had the issue whether there should be special courts or special procedures. We are going to look very deeply into that. The issue of tenures, as you can see, is very tenuous. I mean, the judicial officers particularly are still thinking very much around this area. But it won't stop us from discussing it until we find what the real problem is. Is the answer in collapsing tenures so that we have 1 or 2 or 3 defined tenures?
She highlighted the challenges they have encountered.
It's been a roller coaster experience. Have you been to a roller coaster? the Texan Giants. So you go up. Some days you are elated and everything is going really well. Sometimes it takes you down and you think your intestines are going to drop out. We've been through this with you, members of the Fourth Estate. I must say I really thank you for standing by us.
For the pending cases, Justice Catherine Bamgemerire said they are to signpost the cases to the organs that suit best for them.
We cannot do anything beyond the 9th. We're also going to stop, obviously, registering complaints because that is also part of the public work we're doing. Investigations will stop. So everything that we're doing regarding public sittings, public hearings, locus visits, and all these things will have to end on the 9th.
The Land Commission has shared experiences, mechanisms, and identified challenges faced by the land sector. Sudat Kaye, UBC.
Makerere University applauded the University of Bergen for the 30-year partnership in the field of educational support. Over 120 students and staff of Makerere University have benefited since the partnership began between the two universities. The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe, called upon the two institutions to continue with this international partnership so that many more students can benefit.
The 30-year partnership between Makerere University and the University of Bergen has benefited over 120 students and staff in the area of educational support through creation of knowledge hub in the country.
The experience in Bergen was so enriching, so gratifying, and it helped me to even break this claim that Sijui literature is a fossilized subject. Literature lives with us.
It has not been what started off as a sort of what we call a mentoring or hand-holding by one university is now a very strong partnership, because we do not only see students move from Makerere to the University of Bergen in Norway, but we see students move from University of Bergen coming to Makerere. Because of this collaboration, the Makerere University has managed to plug into quite a number of funding possibilities.
Makerere University Vice-Chancellor Professor Barnabas Nawangwe called upon the two institutions to continue with this international partnership as a means of eliminating current and future economic development barriers.
Because the deans are actually the ones in charge of programs, academic programs. They are the managers of the programs and constitute the management.
Under the Nufu Folklore Project,
which was very impactful. We had many students trained, I think even at master's level and PhD.
Bagan University's Professor Teriska, on the other hand, urged more PhD students at Makerere University to take advantage of the opportunities when they arise.
For Makerere, I think now they are number 4 on the ranking. Why is that? That is because there is a lot of research going on, a lot of publications, a lot of PhDs, and this collaboration has contributed to this. We are not alone because Makerere collaborates with many universities, but I think it's an important element that has boosted the university here.
He further reiterated the need for Makerere University to lay strategies for more teaching of short courses in Norwegian every summer to help prospective students be grounded in culture and language basis prior to the setting off for their studies in Norway. Joseph Bule, UBC, Makerere University.
Thank you, Joseph Bule. You might be familiar with different types of gases in the atmosphere: hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and others. But there is a noble gas, radon, which endangers human species. This gas is concentrated in areas with high volume of uranium.
Communicate to the public about radon.
The Atomic Energy Council is interesting members of staff in the existence and occurrence of a radioactive, colorless, odorless, tasteless, noble gas termed radon.
And as representatives from government agencies whom we think have a stake, a responsibility to play.
This gas formulates after continued decay of uranium, which occurs naturally in soil and rocks. Radon gas can be detected in areas with high concentration of uranium, heat, poor ventilation in homesteads, and cracks of buildings.
First of all, you can increase the airflow system, the ventilation system, so that the radonic gas which enters in the house can move out of the house. 2, if there are any cracks in the building from underground, should be sealed, so that the radonic gas is sealed off, doesn't build up. But it's important for them also to know that it exists and it has health effects.
Currently, there are no radon detector machines in the country. There is limited information of the occurrence of radon. However, there is something to worry about this type of gas.
We've seen that if you are exposed to radon, you have higher risk of suffering from lung cancer, depending on the concentration and how much you are exposed. So lung cancer, people who are at risk are those ones living in places where there are high levels of radon.
The Atomic Energy Council, on the other hand, plans to take part of a survey to ascertain the concentration of radon in the areas where it is anticipated to be high. This will include tourism caves, water sources. This information will help in the formulation of policies that could save many from suffering complications. Mtonyi Hilda and Ivan Kahwa for UBC.
Thank you so much, Ivan and Hilda. We're taking a very short break. We'll have more in return. Please keep it up.
Send money from Airtel to Airtel at 60% discounted rates. Yes, you can now send money for as low as 100 shillings and a maximum of 1,000 shillings. And that's not all. You can now withdraw up to 7 million shillings from your nearest Airtel money agent for as low as 12,500 shillings. Remember, depositing money is free. Buying airtime through Airtel Money is free. Airtel Money and PIN registration is free. Do not pay any transaction charges directly to the agent, and never share your PIN number with anyone. Enjoy the lowest rate on Airtel Money today. Airtel Money, simple, instant, secure. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Hello, Uganda!
we introduce to you the first and ever My Right to Play Christmas Kids Festival 2019. Let the kids feel the Christmas Eve on the 21st of December at the Legends Sports Ground in Lugogo. Entrance is 10,000 shillings only and parents free. Bring your child and have an opportunity to play, sing, dance and discover their talents. Mujetringira mazalibwa nga abato basanyusa bato bannaabwe. Mulete abaana bammwe banyumirwe, banywe, bazanye. Kino kigenda kubeera kijjabe. Proudly sponsored by Legends Sports Ground, UBC TV, Star TV, U24 TV, Star FM, Magic 100 FM, UBC Butebo, Marketing, UMC Victoria Hospital and Ideas Workshop. Bw'oba oyagala omwana okuyimba kuba ku ssimu eno. This weekend on UBC.
My name is Mkaiv Hannington, winner of the NSSF Friends with Benefits Season 2.
Congratulations, Hannington!
I used my winnings to boost my agricultural production and give a chance to the people in my community to work.
So join us this year for the third season of the NSSF Friends with Benefits, as 16 Ugandans share inspirational stories on how they use their NSSF benefits to do life-changing things. So tune in every Sunday with your host, Gaetano and I, and special new host, Uncle D. It's another incredible display. It's the NSSF Friends with Benefits.
And that's not all. You have the power to vote for your favorite stories to win up to 55 million shillings, just like Huntington. This show is brought to you by
NSSF, a better life.
Welcome back from the break. We go straight to business news. Uganda Investment Authority has engaged potential investors wishing to do business under 83 licensed projects from the first quarter of July to September. This was in a meeting geared at sensitizing investors on government services that necessitate smooth operation of investors in Uganda. At the end of the meeting, the investors were able to understand what is required of them to do business in this country. UBC TV talked to Sheila Mujenzi, the director in charge of investment at the Uganda Investment Authority.
That money can be repaid to you so that you don't lose it.
And they have also given us good feedback, and they have told us that really the taste of the pudding is in eating it. They are the ones who experience the business environment, and they've also shared the challenges that they have got with accessing some of the government services. And I'm very sure that we have all left this meeting on the same page. I'm happy to report that the paperwork has reduced drastically, because now investors can register and license their projects online through an online portal called the EBs, and that EBs has a number of government entities integrated on that portal. So someone can register a business online, and it takes only about a day, because with Uganda Registration Services Bureau you reserve a name in about 4 hours. So within a day a business can be registered and incorporated. Then when it comes to an investment license, we are able to issue the investment license online in only 48 hours. That's 2 days, if all the documentation is in order. But of course there are some investments that require regulatory approval. Those ones will take much longer than 2 days. Because if someone is going to invest in, say, an energy project, education project, pharmaceutical project, they have to first get regulatory approval before we can license them. There are some projects, as you have heard from the meeting, that require environmental clearance. Those ones also do take a bit of time. But UIA has signed service level agreements with all the entities in the one-stop center.
Yes, still in business, Ministry of Foreign Affairs has underscored the need to increase Uganda's export to the Democratic Republic of Congo to concretize the relationship between the two countries. Foreign Affairs Minister Sam Kahamba Kutesa wants improved cross-border trade between Uganda and the DRC through creation of awareness among trade and investment stakeholders. He said this while launching the upcoming Joint Business Forum set for the 9th of November, as we see in this report.
With which Uganda has mutual relationship is Democratic Republic of Congo. As of 2018, Uganda's exports to DRC stood at $533 million US, formal trade at $221 million, as informal trade stood at $312 million. This is market potential that Uganda is seeking to maintain.
We need to work on the power and ICT connectivity along border communities, non-tariff barriers. These are the challenges that we face if we are to facilitate trade between our two countries.
In doing so, the growing importance of simplified trade regime will offer further simplified preferential treatment of cross-border traders with a consignment of less than $2,000 US.
We manufacture over 10,000 blankets in a day, in a month, and only consume 3,000. And so the low-hanging fruits that we have and we hope to get here is that we'll get access to market and sell these blankets that we manufacture in our country, and the ceramic tiles and many other products we manufacture. I can clearly see that we have clear long-hanging fruits that as a country we are ready and excited to pick, and we hope for better collaboration with the Democratic Republic of Congo.
The upcoming Uganda DRC Business Forum is a platform worth welcoming for the business interests of the two nations.
Above all, we have a joint permanent commission which is very vibrant, which is a very vibrant framework for cooperation, where both our countries have held a number of meetings and agreed on a number of areas for cooperation.
With already existing cooperation in foreign policy, defense and security, justice and law, Kutesa says the upcoming forum is more than timely.
These are our opportunities and frameworks that should enable our business people to do business and make it easier for them, lessen difficulties in terms of taxes, lessen even difficulties in non-tariff barriers. So because we have these agreements, these are beautiful frameworks.
Under the theme, promoting bilateral trade, investment and connectivity for mutual peace and prosperity, the forum will bring together business communities, government officials, and other professional bodies. Henry Okrut, UBC.
We go straight to international news. Thank you so much for watching. The World Bank has opened a new office in Somalia during its Vice President for Africa region, Hafez Gamen's first visit to the country. The World Bank supports Somalia's reform efforts as the country approaches the decision point for the heavily indebted Poor Countries program. The World Bank Group and other development partners have been supporting Somalia's reforms since the year 2014 through the Somalia Multi-Partner Trust Fund, which finances government-led state building for service delivery and economic growth with over $447 million US from 11 donors.
In a major boost for the government, the Vice President of the Global Money Lending Institution unveiled the offices during his first visit to the Horn of African nation. Authorities say the move is a testament of increased donor confidence in its finance reform program.
Our objective is really to invest much more in Somalia, to create more jobs, more opportunities for the young Somali people. We need to capitalize on this energy, on Somalia's youth, on Somalia's diaspora, to rebuild the new Somalia, to support growth by investing in the digital economy, in ICT, in energy, and in different areas.
The government has in recent years stepped up efforts in seeking arrears clearance from leading financial institutions. Somalia says it expects positive outcome next year as the country approaches the decision point for the heavily indebted poor countries program.
We really thank the World Bank and its engagement for the last many years. Through thick and thin, you have been with us. We are in that program of SMP4, and as you very well know and noted today, we are cleaning everything, and we are doing everything possible on our side to be able to finalize our SMP program benchmarks. A number of very critical benchmarks have already been done.
Last year, World Bank announced an $80 million grant for Somalia to help strengthen its financial sector and improve service delivery, marking the first disbursement to Mogadishu in 30 years. Meanwhile, the country's cabinet endorsed a draft budget for 2020 worth more than $460 million, up from $168 million in 2016. Various sectors received a boost, including security, education and healthcare.
When we took over, government budget stood at $168 million. Since then, each year, we saw an increase of more than $70 million. Last year, we recorded more than $120 million included into the budget. Based on this, we hope to have our arrears cleared by February.
Analysts attribute recent financial progress to an increase in domestic revenue and proper tax collection. Mogadishu now says its path to financial reforms remains on track. The country's president recently signed an anti-corruption bill into law, the latest in efforts to tackle graft in one of the world's most corrupt nations.
Thank you so much for watching. Kenyan conservationists have strongly urged the Kenyan government for more efforts to protect endangered giraffes. Giraffe numbers across Africa have continued to plummet, leading to scientists calling for the phenomena as silent extinction that is happening right under our noses. The continent has lost 40% of its giraffe herd in 3 decades and now remains with a population of less than 100,000.
This is probably his very first interaction with a live giraffe, and the child can barely contain his excitement. The enclosure at the Giraffe Center in Nairobi is one of the few places where visitors can interact freely with giraffes. And every weekday, school children troop in to feed the giraffes pellets and get closer to a species whose numbers are falling. The Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species has listed the giraffe as critically endangered. There are 3 subspecies of giraffes: the Rothschild giraffe, the Maasai giraffe, and the reticulated giraffe. According to the International Union of Conservation of Nature, the giraffe population has fallen by 40% over the past 3 decades. Today, there are only 100,000 giraffes across Africa. Kenya hosts 36% of the giraffe population in Africa, but its giraffe population has declined massively since the 1970s. There are many reasons for this. One is a loss of habitat. Long ago, when there were large tracts of dry uplands, forest, many giraffes roamed the earth. However, now those numbers are dwindling, and it is in fact due to the fact that there are fewer and fewer spaces such as this where giraffes can find sanctuary.
When there was population increase, we find that their habitat was destroyed for human settlement and cultivation, and that reduced their food range, so their population went down.
To address this, Kenya has attempted to move giraffes to enclosed areas, but enclosing them is also detrimental.
When you enclose the giraffes, you find that they have a limited food range, and during the dry spell, then they don't have dispersal land to go and get more browse.
The giraffe's endangerment has also been attributed to poaching, where giraffes are killed for their skins and hooves. The declining population is a problem that the African Fund for Endangered Wildlife is trying to counter. At its Giraffe Center, trainers teach communities to value and live peacefully with the creatures. Giraffes raised here are later relocated to safe areas.
We might not have giraffes in the wild in the near future, looking at the threats and looking at the requirement, because if a species again is in Appendix 2, require a close monitoring, like in Nakuru, Nakuru is basically a sanctuary for rhino, and now will now be a sanctuary for giraffes.
But as long as there are sanctuaries such as this,